Hey everyone, in this video we're going to take a look at part 4 of the Hercules story. So this is actually chapter 15 or part 15, I think, of Ritchie's Fabulae Faciles overall. But in terms of specifically to Hercules, this is the fourth part of his story. And it's called Hercules Escapes Sacrifice. So before we dive in, you want to remember that the first three parts are really dedicated to Hercules, his birth, almost getting killed by the snakes, sent by Hera. In part 3, the last video, we talked about how he spends all of his youth building up his body to get really strong. That's what he's known for, his sort of brute strength. But we also highlighted one of his key weaknesses, which is his anger, right? His quick temper, his violent temper, and how it can get him into trouble. That's kind of where we're going with part 4. So we're going to do a little time jump now in terms of the story. And starting with part 4, he's already grown. He's an adult, basically. We're not talking about childhood Hercules anymore. We're talking more about him as a man. Okay? So we're going to dive right in and start translating. So you have de Hercule, haec etiam inter alia narantur. So about Hercules, de Hercule, right, just ablative. So about Hercules, these things. Haec is neuter plural. It's the substantive, right? It just means these things. And then you have among others, inter alia, meaning like among other things. So you have haec, these things, narantur, are told, right? So it's saying also these things, among other things, are told. And it's basically Ritchie's way of saying we're about to tell you more stuff about Hercules. There's other things you could learn about the Hercules story, but just some of the things. That's really what's going on with the whole inter alia part here. Okay? And then we dive in. You have olum, dum iter facit in fines aeguptiorum venet. Right? So once upon a time, olum, right? Once, while he's traveling or making a journey, literally iter, would be the direct object here. Facit means he's making. Iter is a journey. When you put them together, we usually translate it as traveling or journeying. So you're saying while he was journeying, right? Venet, he came, right? He came into the fines, into the boundaries, right? Of the borders of Egypt, right? Of the Egyptians is really what it is, right? Aeguptiorum. So it's saying he comes into their boundaries, he comes into the land of Egypt, right? Is really it, right? Again, the boundaries of the Egyptians. So he shows up in Egypt, right? He's in Africa. Then you have ibi, rex quidam, nomine busiris, illo tempore regnabat. So there, ibi, meaning, in Egypt at the time, rex quidam, a certain king. Remember, quidam is just that indefinite adjective, means some or a certain, right? A certain king or some king named Busiris, right? He was ruling, regnabat, right? It's imperfect tense. He was ruling. Illo tempore just means at that time. You have the ablative of time, okay? So it's telling you who the king was at that moment in time. Then you have hic autem, vir crudelissimus homines immolare consueverat, okay? So hic means this one, right? Meaning this person. However, right, he was a vir crudelissimus. He's the most cruel man. Okay, that's who he was. So this most, you could say this most cruel man or this cruelest man, consueverat, right? It means that it's talking about things that he used to do, basically. So it's talking about how he's wicked because consuesco means to be accustomed to doing something. So here you have the pluperfect tense. You're saying he had been accustomed to do what? We need to finish it with an infinitive. Immolare, to burn, right? Think immolate or immolation in English. And who is he burning? The direct object, homines, men. So this wicked man, this most cruel man, had been accustomed to burning men alive, right? That's one of the things that he does, people, strangers who come into his kingdom. Then you have Herculem igitur, corripuit et in vincula coniacet. Okay, so therefore, right, once he sees, Hercules, right, he's gonna do something that he walked into his land. So it's saying, therefore, he corripuit. You could say he had, taken him, right? Seized is probably a good way of saying it. So he seized Hercules and he coniacet. He threw him in vincula, into chains, right? He threw him in chains. So it means that they take Hercules, the stranger who wandered into their lands, and they throw him into chains as a prisoner, right? Because they're going to burn him alive. Okay. Then you have tum nuntios demissit et diem sacrificio edixit. Okay, so then demissit, he had, or he sent out, really is what it means. So he sent out messengers, the nuntios, right? And then you have adixit, right? So this is really talking about it's the verb to really like say is what it means. But when you put it in this context, it really means like he appointed, he proclaimed, you might say, right? The diem, which means the day, so he had set or proclaimed the day for the sacrifice, right? Sacrificio here is dative. It's that dative of purpose, right? For the purpose of the sacrifice, you might say. Okay, so the king sends out messengers and he tells everyone, hey, this is the day we're going to sacrifice this stranger, which is Hercules. Okay, and you might be wondering how Hercules got captured. Again, I would recommend that you go and read more about the life of Hercules. Ritchie does a great job of giving you the general sense of it in the overview, but you could go find all this information, even something like a Wikipedia search or any online resource you have, you'll find more about it. It's worth reading about. Okay, but they have Herc, they're going to sacrifice him, they've set a day, right, and tell everyone, hey, you should come, we're going to kill this guy. Then you have mox, ea dies apetebat, et omnia rite parata sunt. Okay, so soon that day, ea dies, right? So, you're saying soon that day, or this day, you might want to say, arrived, or it was drawing near. So apeto, think peto, petere means to like seek, right? Apeto here means to draw near, right? It's got the idea of coming close to something. So that day was drawing near, and omnia, everything, parata sunt, was prepared. Okay, so rite here just means like duly or rightly, you might say. So it was duly, I guess, prepared. Right, it was prepared in the right way. So everything's ready. And again, parata sunt is just the perfect passive, right? So omnia is your subject. Everything was prepared. Okay, so they're ready to sacrifice Hercules. Then you have manus Hercules catenis fereis vinctae sunt et molla salsa in caput eas inspersa est. Okay, so manus are the hands. Okay, so the hands of Hercules. Hercules here is genitive. So the hands of Hercules, vinctae sunt, they were bound, right? They were tied up, you might say, bound up, however you want to say it. And how are they bound? With catenis fereis, right? With iron chains. Okay, so they put him back into chains, right? Fereis means like iron, right? And then you have catena, which really is a chain, so the plural chains. And again, ablative, it's just showing how they, tied him up. So his hands are chained together. And you have molla salsa, okay? So salsos means like salty, you might say, salt, or I guess salty is probably a better way to do it. Molla means like meal. Which is a way of saying, I think if I remember right, meal is flour is kind of what it's getting at, but it's talking about this custom of taking, I guess you'd say salted meal, molla salsa, right? You'd mix this salt and flour and you use it in the custom for the sacrifice, right? So when you say in caput eas inspersa est, right, the molla salsa, the salted meal, inspersa est means was sprinkled, right? It's perfect passive. So they're sprinkling it onto caput eas, his head, right? Onto the head of him, his head, right? So they're just sprinkling his head with this salt, this flour, right? It's part of this ritual of getting ready to sacrifice something. The interesting imagery here, though, is if you look at what's kind of going on here, the imagery of the salted meal is really what you do for animals that you're sacrificing. So if you're reading this, the whole idea is to get you to understand that they're doing this barbaric kind of custom, this savage custom of treating people the way that you would treat an animal you're about to sacrifice. So if you're interested in this stuff, I'd recommend you do a little research into ancient religious practices, these sacrificial ceremonies. They're really interesting. You see them in ancient Greece, basically everywhere in the ancient Mediterranean, and they're worth looking into. But that's what's going on here. Reading this, it should be a little shocking if you were, say a Greek seeing this. You'd be like, oh my God, you're doing this to a person. You're supposed to do this to an animal, like a bull. That's the imagery that's going on here. Then you have Mose enim era apud antiquo salem et far capitibus victimarum imponere. So it's saying it was era, enim here means like for, you might say. So for it was the most, the custom. Apud antiquos means among the ancients, right? Among ancient people. What was it the custom to do? Imponere, right? Which means to put on, right? To place on, you might say. So it's saying it was the custom of the ancients, right, to place the far at Solemn, or Solemn at far, the salt and the meal, right, to place it on the heads, capitibus, on the heads, victimarum, of the victims, right? But again, it's not talking about human beings. That's the custom for animals. So there's an interesting imagery happening here of treating Hercules like an animal. And this Busiris, this king, is really doing something very wrong by sacrificing people this way. Okay, but it's saying this was the custom, right? And they're doing it to Herc because they're going to sacrifice him. Then you have Yam victima ad arum stabat, Yam sacerdos cultrum sumpserat. So now the victima, the victim, was standing, right? Remember, they're talking about Hercules, was standing ad arum, at the altar. Okay, so they have Hercules up there standing at the altar, and now you have sacerdos, right? The priest, sumpserat, had taken up, right, meaning in his hand, the cultrum, the knife. Okay, so again, this idea of the knife and the sprinkling, this is all imagery of how you would sacrifice a bull, right? You'd basically cut its throat after you've done the ritualistic prayers, and the sprinkling of the salt and the meal, right? That's what they're doing to Hercules. So you see the priest takes out a knife and he's getting ready to sacrifice Hercules, just like you would an animal. Then you have subito tamen, Hercules magno conatu vincula perrupe. So suddenly, and again, you have to imagine Hercules is this great hero full of strength. He's not going to let this happen, right? So suddenly, however, Hercules, with great effort, magno conatu, right? So one of the ways to translate conatus is like with an effort, right? So it's just saying with great effort, you could say. He perrupe, he breaks out or bursts out from the vincula, from the chains, right? So he snaps his chains is really what's happening, or he breaks through the chains, you might say, or broke through, right? So he snaps the chains. Then we finish off the thought. You have tum ictus sacerdotem prostravit altera regnum ipsum occidit, rather. So he breaks out of the chains, and then, and again, this should call back to the previous chapter we read, part 3, where he kills Linus, his teacher, by beating him over the head. He's about to do that again. So then ictu, with a strike, right? Prostravit, he laid out. Right, he laid down, meaning he knocks him down. So he laid out the sacerdotem, the priest. Okay, so he breaks out of the chains, he punches or smacks the priest on the head, you could imagine, and lays him out, meaning basically kills him, right? Then altera, which means with another, and it really means with another, ictu, with another blow or another strike, right? Again, it's this ablative of manner. With another strike, he occidit, he killed the regem ipsum, the king himself. So this is one of those stories of again, Hercules showing his massive strength. He is able to kill people, just like with Linus, right? He's able to kill people with just his bare hands because he does have that sort of feral quality to him, that animalistic, pure, brute strength. That's what Hercules is in a lot of ways and represents. And he uses it here. In this case, it's, I guess you could say, for the good. I mean, he's murdering people again, but he is killing a king and priest who sacrifice human beings. So there is some sort of logic to it, but it's also showing his violence, right? Hercules represents violence. He doesn't really need a weapon. He can just take his bare hands and kill you. Okay, so part 4 is interesting when you see the connection that Ritchie made to part 3, because part 3, where he kills Linus, his teacher, is setting you up for the idea that Hercules is all about brute strength. He builds up his body. He's extremely strong, this hero, and he is able to kill people, right? Either out of anger, right, which is kind of bad with Linus, or I guess in this case, you might say in self-preservation for the good of stopping Busiris, who performs human sacrifices. But the stories kind of link together, and you're seeing this picture of Hercules as this brute force, right? It doesn't matter if you put him in chains, he's going to be able to break out. Okay, so hopefully this section wasn't too bad. There's nothing particularly crazy about it, other than you might be wondering, how did Hercules get here, or what's happening with the salt and the meal. Again, I'd recommend that you go and look up this story just to get the fuller picture. Again, Ritchie is only giving you kind of an overview of it, but look up the ritual practice of sacrifice. And again, the more you read, you'll understand it's really for animals. So when you know that this is the imagery of how you would kill a sacrificial animal, and you see them doing it to human beings, that's supposed to spark the idea of like, whoa, this is really wrong. This is against what the custom is, right? The custom is supposed to be on animals, and this crazy king is doing it to people. So hopefully it made sense. If you had any questions at all, just let me know in the comments. And again, I've said this in a few of the videos, but I'll say it again. Your best bet for practicing this, read this story out loud. Read it. If you can find someone to read it back to you, the more you read it and just let the Latin wash over you, you'll catch a lot of the patterns, right? Ritchie is really good at making or using repetitive patterns in terms of the grammar and the way he writes the Latin. The more you hear that, you'll catch it. It'll make it easier to read as you go. But again, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Otherwise, keep at it and good luck.